January 15th every year, the Nigerian state reflects on our journey to nationhood. Because about 50 years ago, a brutal civil war resulted in millions of fatality that distorted the cohesion of the state. However, 53 years on, we honor the bravery of the gallant servicemen who before then and afterwards constantly commit to keeping us safe, which informs the idea of the Armed Forces Remembrance Day. On this episode of the program, we highlight and commemorate the 2023 edition of the day. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jeffrey Uzongo.
The Armed Forces Remembrance Day is a day set aside to honor the sacrifices of servicemen of the Nigerian Armed Forces and veterans of the World War I and II, as well as the Nigerian Civil War. In Nigeria, it is held on the 15th of January every year. The annual event is in honor, solidarity and appreciation of the sacrifices of members of the Armed Forces of Nigeria. At the nation's capital, Abuja, it's the last Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration to be presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. This year's Remembrance Day celebration, held at the National Arcade in the 3-Arm Zone, witnessed the inspection of a guard of honor by the President. The guard of honor was mounted by the detachment of the Nigerian Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and the Nigerian Legion. Shortly after, the event dovetails into the wreath-laying ceremony in honor of the fallen heroes. First, by the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. Then the Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibajo. The President of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, and other cabinet members take turns to lay wreath. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Rabot, led other service chiefs and Inspector General of Police in laying wreath at the tomb of the heroes. It was then the turn of members of the diplomatic community and representative of widows of the fallen heroes in recognition of their sacrifices.
Were ambushed. Lieutenant General D.O. was the commanding officer of the Nigerian Air Force Special Operations Force. Pascari was an officer and a being afraid that the death zone and the death zone of all the people in fact rest in perfect peace. The bottom of the Most High God. Amen.
A minute silence was then observed. Afterwards, 3 volleys of 21-gun salutes were fired at the event. Flagged by heads of various government agencies, military chiefs as well as other top government officials, President Buhari signs the anniversary day register.
The Nigerian Legion, President Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, Grand Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic.
The President then releases the white pigeons, an act which signifies harmony, and cheers erupt as one of the birds perch on the head of one of the officers.
End of this very, very significant and remarkable occasion of the 2023 Armed Forces Day.
Speaking after the event, the Chief of Defense Staff shares optimism, particularly ahead of the general elections.
One served and are serving to serve this country, and that we have that level of love for country that men and women have committed to, if need be, sacrifice their lives so that the rest of us can live. I think it's a worthy thing. So today, it's quite a very unique day that the nation has set it aside to value, to place premium on the services and honoring the services of men and women of our great country. So we are more motivated to continue to play our part, and then for the veterans, for them to also know that their services, the sacrifices that they made is not in vain. Well, I mean, democracy has come to stay. Government of the people, by the people, and for the people in Nigeria has come to stay. That is an assurance. And then, of course, for the elections, I'm sure you know that the police is on the lead. I have been discussing with the IG, and of course we have also made contingencies. Should we be required to give support to the police as the election is conducted? I think for Nigerians, you are well rest assured that the armed forces remain solidly behind the police to be able to give them all the support that is required.
It doesn't make it look like they fought in vain. They are being remembered. Their families are being remembered. But well, it brings back a lot of memories. But it's fine. God be with us. God bless us all. And we pray for peace. Let it not be that they died in vain too. So a lot of support from the NAFOA, that's the Wives Association, the military men. We've been getting support from different angles, and they promise to continue supporting. So it has started taking a longer time to compensate the family. Before it would take a shorter while, but now it takes a longer while. So families have to wait, like keep waiting or keep calling or try to cross the line. But if it's possible to, mine didn't take time, thankfully, but I've seen others in this situation and they've been complaining that it has taken a very long period. Mine was between a month or two, but some is stretching to 9, going to a year now, which is really not telling good on them. But I feel everybody is trying their best to do what they can do. But hopefully they get to settle people.
In Lagos, the sacrifice, gallantry and devotion of men and women who served the nation are celebrated at the Remembrance Arcade at the Tafawa Balewa Square. Then the laying of the wreath, representing a circle of eternal life.
Thank you very much, sir. Next is the Chief Judge.
An emotional day for some family members of fallen heroes as they pay respect to their loved ones. The Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Obafemi Hamzat, represents the state governor at this year's event.
We remember the soul of those who have departed while defending the territorial integrity of our country. May their soul continue to rest in peace. Amen. And we pray that God will grant the family the fortitude to bear the loss.
In Ebonyi, the Remembrance Day ceremonies begins with a church service at Nkwago Military Cantonment in Abakaliki on Sunday. The day was rounded off with wreath-laying ceremony at the Cenotaph of Fallen Heroes held at Unity Square in Abakaliki, the Ebonyi State capital. For the Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde, it is time to reflect on the state of the nation.
Speak to the guards, commander, and their readiness to undertake the course for which they have been commissioned.
The governor wants security agencies in the country to remain professional and neutral in the coming elections.
Thank you very much.
The country belongs to all of us.
The members of the armed forces, especially those
at the end of everything,
gallant,
politics will
steadfast, they've been truly
go,
committed,
and our country will remain.
And we've seen the display.
And also, let me use this opportunity to thank the officers and men of Nigeria's armed forces for what they are doing for our country at this period.
There are some of our veterans, they are not being paid with their pensions. Some are not served the required years. They need to be careful. So we need the assistance of Oyo State government to help us so that we can take good care of those people. Then we have medically challenged soldiers, we have disabled, and any donation they give us, we make sure we distributed it evenly and equally among the 33 local government areas of Oyo State.
In Akwa Ibom State, guest chair has rounds of shots are fired into the air in honor of the fallen heroes. The governor called for more support to family members of the armed forces who paid the supreme price for the continued unity of the country.
In the course of my administration, as we begin the process of handing over the baton of leadership to my successor, whom I'm convinced will carry on this tradition of gratitude we have shown for the service these heroic patriots have given to our state and the nation. I just want to say thank you for the support you've given unto me for the past over 7 years and 7 months in office. As we honor these great patriots, let us also be reminded that factors that led to the various wars they participated in, or the internal operations to secure our peace for which they paid with their lives, are still with us. All across the nation, some rhetoric that enlarged the chasm of separation and weakened the cause of our national unity are still being propagated and amplified through various echo chambers. Our diversity should form a rainbow of strength. It's being exploited for narrow political advantage, especially at this time. While zero-sum game tactics are still being employed and deployed all over the nation, a day such as this should help us lower the temperature of incendiary and unhelpful rhetoric. We should fan the embers of our unity deeper and extend the frontiers of love and brotherhood further. So the sacrifices of these gallant officers and men of the Nigerian Armed Forces we have come here today to honor will not be in vain.
Governor Doye Diri joined the march parade to inspect the guards in Bayelsa State. "21 gun salutes and other solemn activities were performed at the ceremony in Yanagwa, the state capital.
The Whistling ceremony and His Excellency is taking the lead. He has gone to the days of the senators.
In Anambra State, the Dr. Alex Ekweme Square in Oka is where the day is being observed. The state governor Chukwuma Soludo says the day calls for sober reflections.
We remember the sacrifices of these armed forces in Anambra State, Anambra State today, helping to liberate, as we know, the 8 local governments that were completely taken captive before our government was sworn in, and helping to maintain security around the entire state. At this moment, let me, on behalf of the good people of Anambra State, pay special tribute to all those who have lost their lives in the determined fight to eliminate criminality in their state. May their souls rest in peace. Let me also commend the gallantry, professionalism, and massive support of all the security agencies operating in Anambra State. Your immense sacrifice and devotion will forever be treasured by the great people of Anambra State.
It's a low-key ceremony in Imo State as the Governor, Hope Uzodimma, urges the National Assembly to pass a law for the establishment of a National Armed Forces Dedicated Trust Fund to ensure improved welfare for veterans and families of fallen heroes.
I today urge every Nigerian not to look at this day with indifference, but focus on the significance of the quantum sacrifice being made by servicemen and women. In that regard, it should not be left to the government alone. We should treat this matter like the national responsibility it is. Although there is not much we can do for the dead, there is certainly a lot we can do for our veterans and their families, the families of our fallen heroes. Consequently, I am preferring on the National Assembly for the establishment of a National Armed Forces Dedicated Fund to ensure that these veterans and their families and the families of the dead can be catered for without ceasing for all seasons. It can be modeled after the TED Fund that is today intervening in our tertiary education. If the legislation is in place, the federal, state, and local governments, as well as corporate organizations, each will contribute some percentage of their funds and resources to this fund. From this pool of resources, we can take care of the education of the children of our foreign heroes, as well as the veterans who fought for us. I believe that this will motivate our security personnel to continue to put in their best. In addition, it will also motivate many more Nigerians into voluntarily joining the armed forces. In Imo State, we appreciate the invaluable contributions of the armed forces towards the restoration of peace in our state. We have not abandoned the families of those who lost their lives in the process of securing the state. We have also been doing our best in supporting security agencies in all ways possible to make their jobs easier. We shall not relent. We shall continue to do that. Thus, I urge all well-meaning individuals and corporate organizations to assist with their widow's mite so that together we can improve the quality of lives of those our heroes for the sake of prosperity.
In Ogun State, it is also a solemn event with a colorful parade at the arcade ground of the governor's office in Abeokuta, the state capital.
We will leave no stone unturned to ensure that we continue to promote peaceful coexistence, tolerance, inter-party tolerance. We continue to lower the political temperature, and anyone found wanting of any attempt to run foul of the law, irrespective of who they are, how highly placed they are, they will be dealt with to the fullest extent of the law. I hereby warn our parents to ensure that their kids are not used for any acts of violence or thuggery as we prepare for the forthcoming elections. Let everybody go about peacefully. Let them market themselves and their parties. Let them be tolerant of each other. And let our citizens vote for that person or persons that can truly represent them as they deserve.
In Cross River State, the Armed Forces Band's performances ushers in the governor to the parade ground who inspects the guards. The sound at the event of the venue go from traditional gun salute to the big O.
Some of these armed men who have given their lives, who have fought so hard, their loved ones are alive today. Some of them retired, still available, but have challenges of livelihood. Therefore, an opportunity like today calls government at all levels to reflect on the sacrifice that these our great sons and daughters have actually offered for our country. The oneness of Nigeria today wouldn't have been possible but not for these great heroes. As we genuflect and bow in their honor, may we also reflect on those who work for us and those who serve with us, that the primary purpose of government is the people.
The Armed Forces Remembrance Day presents citizens and governments at all levels an opportunity to appraise our collective action in ensuring that the lives and contribution of the men and women who commit to protecting us and those who have paid the supreme price in the process is not in vain, and their families must not be left to walk alone.
And to all our servicemen, thank you for your service. And to the rest of us, thanks for your time and, of course, your usual company. I'm Jeffrey Uzama.